Imagine being told your bones are crumbling, that falls now mean fractures, and that independence is slipping away. That's the reality for millions of people over 60 diagnosed with osteoporosis. But here's what most doctors won't tell you. Your bones are still alive, still listening, and still capable of responding to the right signals, even at 70, 80, or 90 years old. 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over 50 will break a bone due to osteoporosis. Yet the conversation usually ends with a prescription and a warning to be careful. What if that's not the whole story? What if the latest research reveals something completely different? What if your skeleton, right now, is waiting for you to send it the instructions it needs to rebuild? Your bones aren't concrete structures that harden and crack with age. They're living tissue, constantly breaking down and rebuilding every single day. Modern research has uncovered that bone health isn't just about calcium. It's an intricate dance involving your gut, your muscles, your hormones, inflammation, sleep, and even stress. If you're new here, welcome to a channel that refuses to accept "that's just aging" as an answer. We dig into the research and bring you what actually works. Hit subscribe and drop your country in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Can bone density actually improve in older adults? Or is that wishful thinking? According to systematic reviews and meta-analyses, the answer is nuanced. Research shows that while preventing bone loss is well established, actual increases in bone mineral density in older adults are modest but measurable. A 2025 meta-analysis examining exercise interventions found that resistance training can maintain bone density and slow decline, with improvements ranging from maintaining current levels to gains of approximately 1 to 3% at sites like the hip and spine. Bone tissue is metabolically active throughout life. Your skeleton continuously undergoes remodeling, breaking down old bone, and forming new bone. This process is controlled by osteoclasts that break down bone and osteoblasts that build new bone. The balance between these determines whether you lose or maintain bone mass. Research confirms that lifestyle interventions, particularly targeted exercise, adequate nutrition, and addressing underlying health factors, can shift this balance favorably. A systematic review examining high-velocity resistance training found modest but statistically significant effects on bone mineral density at the lumbar spine, total hip and femoral neck, with improvements ranging from approximately 1 to 5%. While these numbers may sound small, they're clinically meaningful because even maintaining bone density after 60 significantly reduces fracture risk. The key takeaway: your bones retain the biological capacity to respond to proper signals throughout life, making proactive intervention worthwhile at any age. Now that we understand bones can respond to intervention, let's uncover 4 critical factors conventional medicine often overlooks. Understanding these root causes separates superficial advice from transformative protocols. First, digestive dysfunction and malabsorption. This is perhaps the most underestimated factor. Research shows many older adults have compromised stomach acid production, drastically reducing their ability to absorb calcium, magnesium, and essential minerals. Even with a nutrient-dense diet or supplements, if your digestive system can't extract and absorb those nutrients, your bones starve. Factors like chronic antacid use, insufficient digestive enzymes, age-related changes, and imbalanced gut bacteria all contribute. The gut microbiome itself influences bone health through multiple pathways, including nutrient absorption and immune modulation. Second, muscle loss or sarcopenia. Multiple studies have established that muscle tissue sends direct mechanical and biochemical signals to bone tissue, essentially telling bones they need to stay strong. When you lose muscle mass, especially the rapid loss common after age 60, you lose this vital communication. Your muscles are messenger systems informing your skeleton it's still needed. Without adequate muscle mass, even excellent nutrition cannot fully support bone health. Third, chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, has been identified as a primary driver of accelerated bone loss. This isn't obvious inflammation. It's persistent, low-level inflammatory state driven by blood sugar imbalances, processed foods, poor sleep, chronic stress, hidden food sensitivities, and dental issues like periodontal disease. Studies have documented inflammatory markers are directly correlated with decreased bone mineral density and increased fracture risk. Fourth is chronic psychological stress and elevated cortisol levels. Research has established prolonged stress directly interferes with bone formation while accelerating bone breakdown. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, inhibits the cells responsible for building new bone while increasing activity of cells that break bone down. Many older adults live in constant low-level anxiety about health, finances, or independence, creating a hormonal environment that quietly undermines skeletal strength. Understanding root causes is empowering because each represents an opportunity for intervention. Let's start with digestion. Because if this foundation is weak, everything else struggles. Your gut is the gateway for all bone-building nutrients. Recent research confirms the gut microbiome directly influences calcium absorption, vitamin D metabolism, and bone mineral density through immune signaling pathways. Fermented foods have emerged as particularly interesting in research. Studies examining fermented soy products like natto found associations with better bone health. The Japanese population-based Osteoporosis study, following nearly 1,000 women over 3 years, found habitual natto intake was associated with higher total hip bone mineral density in postmenopausal women. While more research is needed for definitive conclusions, the connection between fermented foods, gut health, and nutrient absorption appears promising. The mechanisms are becoming clearer. Fermented foods contain beneficial bacteria and compounds that may enhance nutrient absorption while reducing inflammation. Research shows fermented foods can improve gut barrier function, support healthy gut bacteria, and enhance mineral bioavailability. For those new to fermented foods, start gently. Begin with small amounts of naturally fermented options like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi alongside familiar meals. For those interested in traditional options, miso soup or small amounts of natto can be introduced gradually. Beyond fermented foods, supporting digestion means eating in a calm environment, chewing food thoroughly to aid breakdown, avoiding excessive cold beverages with meals which can suppress digestive enzymes, and being mindful of medications that may interfere with nutrient absorption. Simple practices like starting meals with bitter foods or warm liquids can gently stimulate digestive secretions. These approaches respect how the aging digestive system works rather than fighting against it. With digestion optimized, let's turn to nutrients that truly matter for bone building. Calcium alone is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Vitamin K2 has emerged as particularly important in bone research. This nutrient, particularly in its MK7 form, helps direct calcium to bones rather than soft tissues. A meta-analysis examining vitamin K2 supplementation found improvements in lumbar spine bone mineral density in postmenopausal women, along with reductions in undercarboxylated osteocalcin, a marker of vitamin K status. You'll find vitamin K2 naturally in natto, aged cheeses like Gouda, pastured egg yolks, and fermented foods. Magnesium is critically important, yet systematic reviews suggest approximately 20% of people consume less than recommended amounts. Magnesium is essential for activating vitamin D, supporting enzymatic reactions in bone metabolism, and regulating calcium balance. Research examining magnesium intake in older adults found higher intake was associated with increased hip and femoral neck bone mineral density. Food sources include pumpkin seeds, dark leafy greens, almonds, black beans, whole grains, and dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. Collagen and protein provide the structural matrix for mineral deposition. Without adequate collagen, bones become brittle, regardless of minerals. Your body produces collagen from amino acids, particularly glycine, proline, and lysine. Supporting collagen production involves consuming adequate complete protein from fish, poultry, eggs, legumes, or dairy, along with vitamin C from bell peppers, kiwi, citrus fruits, strawberries, and broccoli. For plant-based diets, research confirms you can support bone health by focusing on complete protein sources like quinoa, soy products like tempeh and tofu, and properly combine legumes with grains. Ensuring adequate intake of collagen-supporting amino acids through varied protein sources, along with ample vitamin C, allows your body to produce its own collagen. Trace minerals like zinc, boron, copper, and silicon, while needed in smaller amounts, play outsized roles in bone metabolism. Studies have linked adequate zinc intake with improved bone formation markers. Boron helps the body retain calcium and magnesium more effectively. These minerals are found in nuts, seeds, whole grains, legumes, and vegetables. The pattern is clear. Bone health requires an orchestra of nutrients working in concert. Nutrition provides building materials, but movement sends the signal to use them. Not all exercise equally benefits bone density, and understanding the difference is crucial. Swimming and cycling, while excellent for cardiovascular health, provide minimal bone-building stimulus because they don't create sufficient mechanical load. Research examining different exercise modalities consistently finds bones respond specifically to impact, compression, and multidirectional forces. These mechanical stresses trigger cellular responses that signal bones to strengthen. Walking is beneficial, but walking on flat surfaces at steady pace doesn't provide enough variation to stimulate significant bone adaptation. The skeleton adapts to consistent loads and stops responding. What research shows is more effective includes resistance training with progressive loads, impact activities like jumping or stomping when safe, weight-bearing exercises that load the spine and hips, multi-directional movements that challenge balance, and activities on varied terrain. A comprehensive 2025 systematic review examining physical exercise effects on bone mineral density in older adults found exercise interventions, particularly resistance and impact training, showed positive effects at sites like the hip and spine. The research emphasizes that mechanical loading combined with muscle contraction forces creates the stimulus needed for bone maintenance and modest improvements. Here's a critical finding. Frequency matters as much or more than intensity. 3 shorter sessions of 15 to 20 minutes daily can be more effective than one long workout. This pattern allows recovery while providing consistent signals. Even for individuals with existing osteoporosis or balance concerns, research confirms gentle, progressive loading when done safely with appropriate support produces measurable benefits. The exercise doesn't need to be extreme or require expensive gym memberships. Simple home-based activities can be highly effective. Standing from a chair repeatedly without using arms, climbing stairs with handrail support, heel raises while holding a counter, carrying groceries or wearing a weighted vest during walks, mini jumps or heel drops when cleared by healthcare providers, and gentle resistance band exercises all provide the mechanical stimulus bones need. Key principles are consistency over intensity, progression that gradually challenges your current capacity, variety to prevent adaptation, and safety that respects your current health status. Starting where you are and building gradually is far more effective than attempting advanced exercises that increase injury risk. We cannot address bone health comprehensively without discussing hormones and inflammation, 2 powerful forces that operate largely behind the scenes but exert enormous influence on skeletal strength. Hormones are crucial regulators of bone metabolism. Research has thoroughly documented how declining sex hormones, particularly estrogen in women after menopause and testosterone in aging men, accelerate bone loss. Estrogen helps inhibit bone breakdown and promotes calcium absorption. When estrogen drops during menopause, the rate of bone loss can dramatically increase. Testosterone supports both muscle and bone mass in men, and age-related decline contributes to osteoporosis risk in older males. But here's what makes this information empowering rather than discouraging. Lifestyle modifications can meaningfully influence hormone levels naturally. Studies have shown that resistance training increases testosterone production in both men and women. Adequate sleep, particularly the deep sleep phases, supports growth hormone release, which aids bone regeneration. Stress reduction through practices like meditation, Tai Chi, or Qigong can lower cortisol and support healthier hormone balance. Consuming adequate healthy fats from sources like wild-caught fish, avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil provides the raw materials your body needs for hormone production. Chronic inflammation deserves equally serious attention. Research examining the relationship between inflammation and bone health has established that inflammatory markers directly stimulate the cells that break down bone while simultaneously inhibiting the cells that build new bone. This creates a dangerous imbalance that accelerates bone loss beyond normal aging. Common sources of chronic inflammation include poorly managed blood sugar from refined carbohydrates and excessive sugar, processed and fried foods high in oxidative compounds, chronic infections including periodontal disease, which is surprisingly common, insufficient sleep, which triggers inflammatory responses, unmanaged psychological stress, and even social isolation, which research has linked to elevated inflammatory markers. Addressing inflammation requires a comprehensive approach, stabilizing blood sugar through balanced meals with adequate protein, fiber, and healthy fats, eliminating or significantly reducing processed foods and refined sugars, prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep consistently, implementing daily stress management practices, whether meditation, gentle movement, or creative activities, maintaining social connections and sense of purpose, and addressing dental health through regular professional care and proper oral hygiene. Think of inflammation as static that distorts the signals your body needs to properly regulate bone metabolism. Reducing that static allows the natural bone remodeling process to function more effectively. Let's translate research into practical daily actions. This framework integrates everything we've discussed into a realistic routine that maximizes bone health support. Morning. Upon waking, start with room temperature or warm water, optionally with lemon, to activate digestion and rehydrate. Before breakfast, engage in 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement, stretching, walking, or light exercises. This primes metabolism and prepares for nutrient absorption. Breakfast. Focus on warm, protein-rich, easily digestible foods. Options include eggs with sautéed vegetables and sesame seeds for calcium and healthy fats, Greek yogurt or kefir with nuts, seeds, and berries, or miso soup with tofu and seaweed for protein, minerals, and digestive support. Aim for 20 to 30 grams of protein, eat slowly, chewing thoroughly. Mid-morning, take a 15 to 20-minute walk, ideally outdoors for natural light supporting vitamin D production. If hungry, have a handful of almonds or pumpkin seeds for magnesium, a piece of fruit with nut butter, or vegetable sticks with hummus. Lunch. Make this your most substantial meal when digestive capacity is strongest. Include a palm-sized portion of quality protein like wild-caught fish rich in omega-3s and vitamin D, poultry, eggs, or plant-based options like legumes, tempeh, or tofu. Add colorful vegetables providing diverse vitamins and minerals. Consider including fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi in small amounts. Include healthy fats from olive oil, avocado, nuts, or seeds. Allow 20 to 30 minutes for your meal without rushing. Afternoon, if energy dips, have warm herbal tea or a small snack like roasted chickpeas, small sweet potato, or dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. Engage in another short movement session, climbing stairs, light resistance exercises with bands, or practicing balance exercises. Evening. Keep dinner lighter than lunch, eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Focus on easily digestible proteins like fish or plant-based options, steamed or lightly cooked vegetables, and moderate complex carbohydrates if desired. Wind down. After dinner, take a gentle walk to aid digestion. Engage in calming activities. Prioritize consistent bedtime, supporting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. Key principles: stay well hydrated with room temperature or warm beverages. Manage stress through practices that work for you. Maintain social connections and engage in meaningful activities. Be patient and consistent. Remembering sustainable habits matter more than perfection. Supporting bone health after 60 isn't about one miracle cure. It's about creating a comprehensive, consistent approach that addresses digestion, nutrition, movement, hormones, inflammation, and stress. Research is increasingly clear. Bones are living tissue that respond to signals we send daily through our choices. While improvements may be modest compared to pharmaceutical interventions, the benefits extend beyond bone density to include better balance, stronger muscles, improved digestion, better sleep, and enhanced quality of life. Even at 70, 80, or beyond, your bones retain biological capacity to respond when given proper support. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistent progress, honoring where your body is while gently expanding its capacity. Small, sustainable changes repeated daily compound over time, creating meaningful improvements in strength, stability, and confidence. If this video provided value, kindly type yes in the comments. That motivates us to create more evidence-based content. Please give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs this message, and subscribe so you don't miss future content on healthy aging. Thank you for being here and trusting us to be part of your journey. Your bones are listening, and with the right signals, they're ready to respond.